Braver is very executable at both close range combat and long range combat. They focus on using katanas and bows. Katana has a ton of executable finishers and is very reluctant on mainly countering enemy attacks. Bows strike from afar, firing arrows, tracking down enemies from a very far distance. Braver's skill tree is very straightforward. It seems like they have the ability to boost healing, which sounds very good as a subclass. But without further ado, let's get into it. And we'll start at the top right like before. Mighty Guard gives you damage reductions along with PP consumption if you use the weapon action to guard. This is pretty useful for 1 point, and I'm pretty sure it will benefit classes that can guard with weapon actions too, like Hunter Sword, Partisan, maybe Wired Lance, Fighter Double Saber, Twin Daggers, and of course Braver Katana. And I think that's about it, unless if I missed something else. Breakfall HP gain lets you recover a small amount of HP if you press spacebar when knocked back and about to land. Resta Effect Amplifier boosts the HP recovery whenever you use the Resta sign that are scattered around the map. They are the green glowy signs on the floor, which makes Braver a pretty good subclass for healing. Alright, to the Braver perks. The first is the Brave Combat. Brave Combat is an active skill, granting you with PP consumption and PP recovery. You can press the active skill again to activate a finisher move. Katanas have a wide AoE finisher, and bows shoot a giant arrow to the sky and will shoot down one giant arrow to the marked target. Keep an eye on the timer so that you don't forget to press it again for the finisher move. Brave Combat has 4 perks. Brave Combat Close Range is if you're at a short distance away from the enemy. When you normal attack, you'll leap towards the enemy you're locked onto with your katana. Brave Combat Arrow Mates grants knockback resistance whenever you use a photon with a bow. Basically gives you iframes in between. Brave Combat Short Cycle reduces the duration of Brave Combat, but reduces cooldown time as well by half, from 2 minutes to 1 minute, but the duration goes from 30 seconds to 15 seconds, at 5 points learned. Brave Combat Final Bonus recovers HP and PP depending on the number of hits that you do from the start of the Brave Combat active to the end of the active. This skill is very good for getting back HP and PP. For example, if you have full PP and activate Brave Combat and wail on enemies until your PP runs out, depending on the number of hits that you do, and make sure to activate Brave Combat for the finisher, you could instantly get a full bar of PP and be able to spam more photon arts afterwards. Katana Guard Counter lets you counter if you guard on time with a weapon action button. And Katana Guard Counter Plus adds a shockwave to the counter, so if you get the counter and they dash to a far distance, you can still reach them with the range. It's a short range, but it is not bad. It's alright. Alright, so here's where people get confused. Fearless Attitude is another counter mechanic for Katana. If you watched my recent VODs of my Katana Braver vs Bujin, you'll notice that if you do either a normal attack or a photon art, you'll see a shield pop up right in front of your character. That is a timed counter which triggers after either a normal attack or a photon art, like I said earlier. This will protect you front side, but you are very vulnerable on the back side, and this only works for katanas. Katana PA combo retention lets you string different photon arts together without being interrupted. I also forgot to mention that each katana photon arts has 3 attack stages, 9 attacks in total. So the way it works is if you use any PA once and you use another, the other will perform its second stage as you used your first attack on the first PA you used. And every third photon attack is a finisher combo and will glow purple. I'm pretty sure this has to do with timing your attacks as well, but I'm not 100% certain on that. A bow illusion is a bow specific counter utilizing the weapon action, basically granting you a counter with a normal attack if successfully dodged with a weapon action. You can dodge in any 4 directions with the bow too. Bow Illusion Plus grants you movement to 4 directions. If you press the weapon action after a photon art, either forward, left, right, or backwards, you'll dash towards that directions and give you slight iframes for dodging attacks. Tracer Arrow lets your normal attacks track the enemy. It's like 60% accurate, but sometimes it's not. but it's still very useful for the bow. For your normal attacks, you shoot 3 arrows instead of 1 arrow like base PSO2. That's about it for the Braver skill tree. Braver Katana has a lot to utilize for and can do a lot of things on its own, especially since katanas have access to 3 types of counters: sidestep counters, weapon action counter, and the fearless attitude skill counter after every attack. Bows are very good in terms of mobility, and all the photon art dashing makes you look a bit fancy, kind of like a ballerina dancer kind of thing. But yeah, if you have any questions about Braver, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments below. I'll be glad to answer anything that you want to know about Bravers and how the playstyle is like. But yeah, I hope this guide helped you better understand how Braver works for both katanas and bows, and I hope it enhanced your gameplay as well. If it did, leave a like, sub to the channel for more PSO2 content, and as always, be one with the weeb and happy grinding.